Welcome to Spooky News for November 1st, 2019. This is the first spooky news since Halloween, and I hope everyone had a spooky Halloween. Just because we're past Halloween, though, doesn't mean that things are not spooky. Around here, we keep it spooky all year round. So let's get to the new spooky news. This is just a quick reminder. This new, spooky news channel and the spooky channel in general is supposed to be interactive. So please like us, like our videos, save our or share our videos, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and by all means leave comments. We'd love to hear what you want to see. If you've got ideas for videos, great. If you want to do some video for us, great. If you want to share some video that you think belongs in one of our playlists, that'd be great too. But always, whatever you do, keep it spooky. If you're interested in UFO research, there's a massive, massive collection of UFO documents that is in the process of being archived. It belonged to Stanton Friedman, who was a Canadian scholar and nuclear physicist who gathered up tons of information on UFOs over the years and recently passed away. The thing is, it's, very disorganized, lots of papers everywhere. It's going to take them a while to organize all this information, but the interesting thing is it really hasn't been archived and cataloged like this before, so who knows what's in there. He's gathered up tons and tons of stuff over the years. So, while a lot of it might be things you've read about elsewhere, there might be some things that nobody's really heard about. It will be interesting to see, but obviously this project's going to take them a while. The Mirror always comes up with some interesting footage. They've got some CCTV footage that supposedly shows a little ghost child following a waitress around a restaurant. The restaurant's called the Lamb and Lion. It's in a place called High Petergate, and you can have a look at the video. They've got it on their website. I'll be sharing the link, and you can have a look at it and see. I don't know. To me, it looks like it could be manipulated, but you may have different opinion on it. Still, it's a pretty creepy looking video anyway. Leah Michelle, who was best known for the show Glee, has reported in an interview recently that she once lived in a home that had a singing ghost. That sounds unusual, but hey, there are all kinds of ghosts, right? So I'll include the link for the article, which has the video to the interview you can check out for more information. Are you interested in taking a college class about UFOs, ghost sightings, and other stuff like that, other paranormal events? Well, the University of Florida in, I'm not sure if there are different universities of Florida, but University of Florida is going to have a class called Religion and the Paranormal, which is going to discuss just that kind of stuff. It's going to be offered this coming spring, so you probably still have time to get registered and take the class. It sounds like something that should be pretty interesting. In case you missed it, NASA released just in time for Halloween a photo of something called Ghost Head Nebula, and it really does look like a creepy face. I'm going to look around their website. I know their video and their photos are all public domain, so if I can spot them out there, I'll include it in this video. If not, there'll be a link where you can see that. But yeah, pretty cool stuff. I love space stuff anyway, so it's kind of cool to see. But it's neat that they released it just in time for Halloween. By the way, that ghost face picture released by NASA comes hot on the heels of another creepy picture they released, which was a photo of the sun that had been gone through some filters and looks like a jack-o'-lantern picture. I wasn't able to get video of the galaxy thing, but I did find the photo, and I've got the photo of this one too, so I'll include both of them here in case you didn't see that one before. We've talked quite a bit about the whole paranormal tourism thing, and if you want some places that are perhaps a little less touristy, but then again, this is featured in an article now in fredericknewspost.com, and so perhaps these are going to be less unknown. But Ghost Hunter gave out a list of 7 under the radar places to visit, and they range from Mackinac Island, Michigan, which it says the whole island pretty much is haunted, to Point Pleasant, West Virginia, Liberty, Missouri, Sudbury, Massachusetts, Kansas, lots and lots of places, New Hampshire. So I'm going to share the list in the details section of this video, and you guys can have a look and maybe plan a trip to one of these places. Seems like it could be a fun trip, and if you've got something else going on in the area too, these are just a nice little side trip then. Just sort of an added spooky bonus. Did you try that Mountain Dew Voodoo that was released for the fall, the mystery flavor? I guess they do it every year. I hadn't really tried it previous years, but I did try this one, and I know people were guessing all kinds of things. I knew somebody who guessed caramel apple. I don't know. There were tons of guesses out there. Personally, I thought it had sort of a lime flavor to it. My wife probably came about the closest of all. She said she thought it tasted like cotton candy. Well, it turns out they've revealed what the flavor was, and it was candy corn. I sure didn't hear anybody saying they thought it tasted like candy corn. Didn't taste like candy corn to me. But if they say it was candy corn flavored, it's candy corn flavored. Personally, I don't like candy corn, but at least now you know what it was supposed to be. Well, I discussed Raven Chronicles several weeks back, and also did an interview with him for Spooky Interviews, and that was for his album Ghost Story. Now, he's got a sequel to that. Apparently, there's going to be a trilogy, and the sequel just came out. It's called The Haunting of Briarwood Manor. So I'll post a link where you can check that out, and stay tuned. We're talking about perhaps doing some giveaways with him, so be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel, and make sure you like our page on Facebook and everything, so you can be up to date on the giveaways if and when they happen. I'm still working on some details with him. Well, I've made my like of lists pretty clear in some of the previous editions of Spooky News, and Billboard has a cool list out this week. Uh, it's all about musicians featured in horror films. I mean, everything from Kiss and Gene Simmons and Ozzy Osbourne and Trick or Treat. Alice Cooper made the list, although I would have put Alice Cooper in for Prince of Darkness. They put him in for a different film. But hey, he's in the list. You got LL Cool J, you got Aaliyah, um, Busta Rhymes, and all kind. Dee Snider, of course, and Debbie Harry. So, don't forget David Bowie in The Hunger. So I've given you some of the list, but I want you to go ahead and make sure and check out the list too. You might know David Destalmachan, and I hope I pronounced his name right. I have a hunch I may have mangled it, for being a henchman in Batman, one of Joker's henchmen in Dark Knight, and also for being one of Scott Lang's buddies in the Ant-Man shows. Um, Certainly, those got him a lot of attention, but he's also big into comic books, and he has put out a new comic book. It's a horror comic from Dark Horse. It's a new series actually titled Count Crowley, Reluctant Midnight Monster Hunter. And you can check that out by going wherever comic books are sold and finding it on the racks. But it should be cool. this past Saturday in Volo, Illinois, Svengoolie did a cool meet and greet, and my wife and I had a chance to meet him, and I got to give him a copy of Spooky Berwin. My wife has a story in there, and I have quite a few, and we figured the book's an homage to him, so I thought it seemed appropriate to give him a copy. And there's a photo here I'm sharing in this video of us meeting him, and also you can see my wife shot a little video of when he got there. So keep an eye on his website. He's always doing events. If you're in the Chicago area, you get out there and go see him one of these times. He's incredibly nice and very good to his fans, and you can also watch his show every Saturday on MeTV. We don't miss it. If you're a fan of The Simpsons, you got to know about Treehouse of Horror, which they do every Halloween. And there's an article I like lists. I've said that many times. Comic Book Resource has a new list out. The Simpsons 10 Treehouse of Horror skits that are way too dark. From Easy Bake Coven to Time and Punishment to Wanted Dead Then Alive. They've got a lot of good ones in here. Nightmare Cafeteria, Terror at 5.5 feet. So I'm not going to give away the whole list. You can look in the details and see, but they talk about each one a little bit with a picture from it, and you can check that out. See if you agree. I mean, whether they were actually too dark or not. I'm not so sure that you can go too dark with Simpsons stuff, but let's hear your opinion. Leave a comment and tell me what you think once you look at their list. For those who have Shudder, and particularly those who enjoyed the Creepshow series this season, there's some great news. It's been renewed for a second season, so you'll have more Creepshow episodes to look for. Apparently it's been breaking all kinds of streaming records, so I guess it's no surprise they got renewed. Were you a fan of Hammer films back in the day? Well, you may not know this, but they're actually still around. They have released a few movies. They've got a new one coming out next year. And they've got big plans to try to reinvent, well, not reinvent necessarily, more like revitalize the company and the brand name. They're going to be focusing a lot on their whole massive catalog of horror films, and they have a big plan in mind to try to get up there with a lot of the modern horror film companies as far as, horror movies are a huge business right now. And I think, somebody who was doing it back in the day and doing it better than a lot of people should be part of it, and should be a big part of it. So it's good to see that they're looking to try to recapture some of that excitement and some of that energy, and hopefully they still have a lot of the charm. They were always a cool company, whether you liked their movies or not. There was always a lot of cool buzz about them. Let's hope they manage to reinvent some of that with a fresh attitude and still capture the same charm. Are you a fan of The Grudge? Well, whether that's the 2002 Japanese version or the Japanese American one that came out a couple years later, you might find something else to like. There's a remake of The Grudge coming out next year, and it's sort of a reimagining of both of those films. And the first trailer has just been released. You might want to have a look at that. It seems pretty cool to me. With Halloween behind us, I guess it's no surprise there are no new horror movies opening this weekend. But I'm sure we don't have to wait until Halloween season for more of them to come out. They'll be right around the corner soon. And that's a wrap for this edition of Spooky News. We'll see you around next week. Spooky Ventures is the home for spooky content and spooky merchandise on the web. Check it out today at spookyventures.com. And remember, always keep it spooky.